Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer, and tonight I'm gonna play District Z. Once again a zombie killing game of escape and survival. And this is a very fast game, so I might be able to do this in just one video. And it's a review copy. I think the components are pretty much what you can expect, as far as the designer has told me. And there is a solitaire variant and a multiplayer variant. I don't know much about the multiplayer variant, and I'm not gonna do this now. I'm gonna focus on the solitaire variant, but for now it might not be the final version. But I just want you to get an impression about what you can expect if you are thinking about backing this game on Kickstarter. I think it will appear there in the near future. Okay, so this is now the setup for the solitaire game. At least if we follow the latest rules. You choose one of the survivors. Until now there are 6 survivors. They all have their own stats and a special ability. And this is Avery, and he's got a combat rating of 3, agility 3, perception 3, and health 4. And his special ability is: at each location you may reroll your event die. You must take the result of the reroll. Okay, so in a multiplayer game, you can see that in some other videos that you find about that game. You got these location cards here, and you build a grid of these cards. Maybe, I don't know, something like, I think the standard grid is 5 rows with 6 cards or something like that. And then you got these stands here, and you got these character cards, and you put them on the stands, and then you can walk on that grid with these cards. You could also probably take your own miniatures if you find something. But okay, in the solitaire variant, this plays a little different. We don't need this grid anymore. So the basic idea of the game, the basic goal of the game is to enter a city or a specific district of a city, look for a special objective. There are a few of them, for example the ID card or a radio, the cure, and there is a fourth one, the walkie-talkie. And this is the one we're looking this time for, and it doesn't matter, they're basically all the same. They don't give you any special ability or so. They're all the same. You only have 4 of them for the multiplayer game. And these are basically on the back standard location cards. So what we've done now, first we have to enter this district, and we have to fight ourselves through the first 6 location cards. Then we can enter let's say the center of the district, and there are 9 of these cards, and somewhere there in the center there is the objective. And if we found that, then we're allowed to leave again, and then we can draw from the last pile, and if we made it through the last pile, then we have won the game. If we've taken 4 wounds, we're dead. Or, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so as I said, it's a pretty simple game. So, well, let's start. Okay, so we simply flip the first location, and that is a dead end right away. And the dead end usually means in multiplayer game, if you move on that grid, then there is a special direction is blocked. In the solitaire variant, this is different. If you come to a dead end, you have to reshuffle the cards that you've met in that specific pile. Reshuffle them, place them on top of the pile, and then do them again. But in this case, because the dead end is the first card, we simply can ignore it. We simply discard it, otherwise we had to place the discard pile on top of the pile and do it all again. So okay, that was the first card actually, and now we go to the second, and this is now the cemetery. And as you can see, it's a really beautiful artwork. And now we roll what happens. And this is basically how every card, except for that special card here, how every card works. You simply roll a die and then you see what happens. In this case, we'll definitely meet some zombies. The only question is how many. So that's a 1. And that's good because these are only 2 zombies that we meet. And then it says, if loud items are used at this location, zombies add 2 to each of their combat die. Okay, until now we don't have any items, so that won't happen. And now we could either try to escape, then we have to use our agility, or we could fight the zombies. So I suggest for now we fight them. Just want to show you how it works, and let me see. Let's say I'm going to take the red dice, and the zombies, they take the black ones. So we take 2 dice for the zombies, because there are 2 zombies. And I got a combat value of 3, so I'm allowed to take 3 dice. Okay, that's bad. And now we roll them, and we simply... now we can compare the dice with each other. And in this case, we got a 5 for the zombies, and my highest die would be a 3, so I take a wound. These are the wound markers here. And the next die is a 5 again. I got a 2, so in this case, I take another wound. And every time you take a wound, you're also infected. So that was a pretty bad start. And now, because we already have 2 wounds and we're only allowed to take 4 or to take 3 wounds, the 4th wound will kill us. It might be a good idea to try to escape here. So now we roll 3 dice, and the zombies roll 2 dice. And if we roll higher than the zombies, we manage to escape. Well, that was close actually, but we did it. We're really lucky here. So in this case, we simply draw the next card. Okay, and that is Overrun. And that's basically the same, but there is an after event. But first, let's do the standard event. That's a 6, so we got 4 zombies. Not good, but here at each location you may reroll your event die. So I think we're gonna do that. Okay, same problem, 4 zombies. So now we're really in trouble, and I think this game is over right before it started. So let's try to fight them again. We got 3 dice, zombies have 4. Okay, yeah, that's it. Terrible start. I guess we're gonna give that a second shot. Okay, let's try it with Crystal this time. She's got a combat rating of 4, agility 3, perception 2, and life points 4. For each ranged weapon you use during combat, add 1 to each of your combat die. Fine. So, let's start again. That is a collapsing factory. And again we got to roll, and this time we will find an item. That's a 6. So we found a knife. Would be maybe better to find a ranged weapon, but okay. That's not bad. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. That's our knife. And as you can see here, the knife adds 1 to our combat value. It's a weapon, dual wieldable. That means we can use 2 of them. A one-handed weapon. We can carry up to 4 one-handed items, and it's a melee weapon. At the end of combat, roll a die. If you roll a 1 or 2, knife is broken. And then we got this after event. Roll a die. The result is the number of zombies you must fight. Oops, that doesn't count. So that's a 6. That's tough. So we got a combat value of 5 now. And there are 6 zombies. So this is going to be quite a fight, I guess. That's tough, but let's see. We can choose now in which way we want to arrange the dice. So I would suggest, because the zombies have 1 more dice than I do, so I give that extra dice, that's a 6, because that would have been a hit anyway. So I say this is the extra dice of the zombies, so I take 1 wound here. And then we got these 5 dice here. And we can, for example, these 2 dice, they cancel each other out. So no hit here for anyone. Then these 2 dice also cancel each other. Same with these 2. But then we can give this die, we can put that next to the 3, so that gives a hit to us, and the 4 is also a hit for us. So overall we do 2 hits, we kill 2 zombies, but they give us 1 wound. And that means we're also infected. Okay. So then there are 4 zombies left, and we have to fight them. And the fight goes on, so it's the same fight, so we don't have to roll if the knife is broken. We only have to do this at the end of the fight. Okay, so the 5 kills the 4, the 5 kills the 3, the 4 kills the 3, but we don't have anything to kill the 2. So in this case, we take 1 wound, but we manage to kill 3 zombies. So that means another infection and another wound. And the difference between these infection markers and the wounds is you can heal the wounds with a first aid kit, for example, but you cannot heal infection markers. And if you have double the number of infection markers than your hit points value shows, then you become a zombie and you've also lost the game. In the multiplayer game, you actually become a zombie then, and you can go on and fight other players there. Okay, so there is now one zombie left. Oops. And now we had 5 dice and only one zombie left. So yeah, that's enough. Kill him. And then we have to roll if the knife is broken or not. And yes, it is. So that's bad luck. So we have to discard the knife. That was a pretty bad start, actually. Okay, let's move on. We draw the next card. And these are Ravenous Zombies. And again, we gotta roll how many zombies we meet. 2 zombies, that's okay. But at this location, zombies add 1 to each of their combat die. So because the knife is gone, we have now only 4 combat dice. And I'm thinking about running away. Maybe that's not such a bad idea. I mean, there are only 2 zombies. And I think it's a good idea to run away here. So we have a agility of 3. There are 2 zombies, so we roll 3 dice for us, 2 for the zombies, and whichever rolls the higher number wins. So yeah, no problems here. We made it, we escaped successfully here. The next card is a warehouse. So if we roll a 6, we find some extra ammo. And that's a 4, so these are 3 zombies. Okay, let's fight them. That wasn't good. Oh man, okay, so yeah. Okay, these, they cancel each other out, and I take a wound from one of the zombies, and I have to ignore the last die here, even though it is I have more dice than there are zombies. I have to ignore one of them. So I simply take 1 wound and an infection marker, and if I take another wound, this game is over. So I think this looks really bad now. And yep, once again we lost. And you can see it's a pretty tough one actually, but I also rolled a little unlucky, I think. Okay, so overall I think you got an impression how this works. And maybe a few more words to the game here. I think this game has quite some potential. First of all, I absolutely love the art. I think the art is really fantastic. It is pretty, it looks pretty realistic, pretty dark, has a lot of atmosphere. Although it's not gory or brutal, and that's kind of interesting. This is something that normally the zombie games don't offer you. Most of the games have some really fun, gory art, and I like that. It's cool. But this is something special here. I mean, there are just very few cards where you actually see a zombie. Very few locations. There is that one here, and maybe then another one where you see a shadow of a zombie or so, but this is basically it. And I think that's kind of a cool idea, and it's a very, very good atmosphere. The cards are of a really good quality, standard, great quality. These things here, they are terrible. They are print and play quality. I mean, this is, I don't know. But I've heard that if the funding is successful, there might be a stretch goal or something, so that these markers come in a better quality. Another point I'd love to see is a little more variety with the cards and with the items, with the location cards and the items. I'd love to see more location cards where you have to do some ability checks, for example. There are a few, but I'd love to see a little more. I also love to see maybe some other enemies, like, I don't know, raiders that might actually steal your items or something like that. Because it's very similar all the time. If you roll how many zombies you have to fight, and if you're lucky, you might find something. And that's basically it. In general, that must not be bad. If you go if you're looking for a fast and simple game, then this is not a bad thing. But a little more variety would improve the game quite a bit, I think. The same with with the items. There are not really many of them. You got this first aid kit, which allows it to heal, a pistol with some extra ammo. I think that's actually the only ranged weapon, a knife, a baseball bat, and then I think 2 more special items. But yeah, there could be a little more, I guess. Yeah, and this is basically the conclusion. I don't know if you know Chainsaw Warrior. I've done a few videos about that. I think, 2, I guess. And this is a game I really do enjoy a lot. It's a very, very simple game of the 80s. And it's a pure solo game. And it feels very similar to the solo variant I've just done. Basically what you do is you just flip cards and roll the dice for fighting, and that's basically it. But it feels a little more interesting because you have more weapons and they all work a little different, and the enemies are also a little more different. So I think, as I said, this game has a lot of potential. And as I understood, the designer is still working on it. He's got a lot of ideas, and he wants to come up with a lot of expansions. So I think it is definitely worth taking a closer look on that. And check it out on Kickstarter. See what he comes up with. Some additional stuff would be necessary to make this game really a great game or a really good game, but I think it definitely has the potential to be such a game that gives you lots of fast fun. So yeah, hope to see you in one of my next videos. Until then, bye.